Okay, this is 1.3 student notes, exact value. And one thing that I would have out is my unit circle so that we can review that and get to know it very well. One thing that I wanted to go back over is the fourth and the sixth part of the unit circle. I talked about this in class. Now remember, your fourths are split up and your quadrants are just split in half. And remember, this is pi over 4, so this is 1/4. This is 2 pi over 4, and this is 3 pi over 4. This is 4 pi over 4. This is 5 pi over 4. This is 6 pi over 4. And this is 7 pi over 4. And this is 8 pi over 4. And some of these do reduce, but if you know the fourths, then you can reduce them. Your sixths are split up to where they have two little legs in between your quadrants. So this, everything is in 6, so this is 1 pi over 6, 2 pi over 6, 3 pi over 6, 4 pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, 6 pi over 6, 7 pi over 6, 8 pi over 6, this is 9 pi over 6, 10 pi over 6, 11 pi over 6, and 12 pi over 6. And again, these reduce to thirds, or some of them reduce to halves, and so forth. Okay, all students take calculus. Remember, this tells you in what quadrant what function is positive. So I'm going to go ahead and write down SOHCAHTOA. And then write down their reciprocals. Secant, this is secant, and this is cotangent. Remember, this is all functions are positive here. This is sine and its reciprocal. This is tangent and its reciprocal, and this is cotangent and its reciprocal. Okay, so now looking at this first function here. It says find the exact value. An exact value is going to be a ratio. We're starting with a degree, and I want a ratio. So what you're going to do is think of cosine. So cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and I'm going to graph 225 degrees. So we know 225 degrees is going to be in your third quadrant. So you're going to go all the way over here, 225 degrees. That's all the way around here. Now, you're always going to find your reference angle. Okay, so the reference angle, remember, is of your initial or your x-axis and your terminal side. So it's in here, and you're going to make a triangle from that. So your reference angle here is going to be 45 degrees. Okay, so if this is a 45-degree angle, you know the ratios to a 45-degree angle. So this would be √2, this is 1, and this is 1. So I'm going to find cosine from theta, and cosine is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse. So adjacent over hypotenuse is going to be 1 over √2, and if I rationalize, that should be √2 over 2. Now, what some of you are forgetting to do is to go back and check all students take calculus, and since it's in the third quadrant, tangent's the only one that should be positive. Tangent and cotangent, so this answer should be negative. And this is my final answer. This is an exact value. It's a ratio. Okay, I'm going to find another ratio, but this time I'm in 3 pi over 4. Okay, looking up here at my fourths, and this is how I draw it. Remember, I know fourths split my quadrants. So this is 1, 2, and this is 3. So this is where my triangle should be, and if you'd like to draw it bigger, you can. Your theta always falls at your origin. So I need to know what angle this is. Now I know that pi over 4s or fourths are always 45 degrees. So I'm looking at, this is √2, 1, and 1 again. So what tangent is opposite over adjacent. And 1 over 1 is going to give me 1. And I look in quadrant 2, sine and its reciprocal are the only ones that are positive, so this should be a negative value. Okay, moving on. Now you're going to have to look at the top of your notes. Sine of 11 pi over 6, and this is what I do. I split these, and I count to 6, or I count to 11. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is where it should be. Or you know that 12 pi over 6 is 1 less than a circle, so it should be 1 less than a circle, and this is your triangle. If you would like to draw it bigger, this is your triangle. Also, I know that each one of these values is going to be 30 degrees, so this is 30 here. This is 60. If you fill in your values, this is root 3. This is 1, your hypotenuse is 2. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So from your theta, which is always at your origin here, this is going to be opposite over hypotenuse, so this should be 1 over 2. If you think of all students take calculus, cosine is the only one that's positive, so this should be a negative value. Okay, secant. Secant is hypotenuse over adjacent. Again, this is a sixth, so I'm just going to go back over here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So drawing it a little bit bigger, this is 30 degrees again. This is 60, so this is going to be 2, 1, and root 3. From your origin is where you always go. This is always going to be theta. Secant is hypotenuse over adjacent, so 2 over root 3. If we rationalize, this is 2 root 3 over 3. Checking to see if this needs to be negative. This is in the second quadrant, so it is going to be negative. All students take. Okay, cosecant. Remember, cosecant is hypotenuse over opposite. Okay, this is in a 2, so that means it's your 4. So it's going to reduce. So this, if you would like to change this to a 4, because we know it reduced, so this was 6 pi over 4 basically. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a quadrantal angle, and we haven't really talked about those yet. So on a quadrantal angle, remember on a unit circle, it goes out by 1 unit. So if we go out by 1 unit, this dot would be 1, 0. This dot would be 0, 1. This would be negative 1, 0. And this would be 0, negative 1. Okay, in each of this ordered pairs, I want you to think of every ordered pair as cosine, then sine. Okay, every time. So if you think of every ordered pair as cosine, sine, cosine, sine. Cosecant is not going to matter since it's on the quadrantal angle. I don't want you to think of that. I want you to think of cosecant being equivalent to 1 over sine. So if this is 1 over sine, then I want you to look at the second ones every time. Okay? So since we know it's down here, we know this is really 1 over negative 1. And 1 over negative 1 is really negative 1. That was super easy. Okay, cotangent of 495. Well, that's bigger than a circle, so let's make it smaller so we know what it's equal to. So this is 135. So let's graph 135 degrees, and that's going to be over here. So remember, you want your reference angle, and that's here. Remember, reference angle is your x-axis and your terminal side. So let's draw a triangle and figure out what this terminal or this reference angle is going to be. And it looks like it's going to be another 45 degrees. So that's root 2, 1, and 1. Cotangent. Cotangent is equal to adjacent over opposite. So my adjacent side over opposite is going to be equal to 1. Checking to see if it needs to be negative. All students take calculus. It is negative. Okay, my last one is secant. Again, we didn't memorize or on your reference circle or your unit circle if you would like to look at it. I like to change this to 4s because I know 4s and 6s. So this by 4, this is going to be 14 pi over 4. If I split this into 4s, so I know this is greater than one circle here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Again, this is a quadrantal. Okay, so I'm going to go up here and look at this right here. Secant is equivalent to 1 over cosine. So remember, we're going to look at the first one because cosine comes first. So this is 1 over 0. You cannot divide by 0. This is equal to undefined. Undefined. If it was 0 on top, then it would be equal to 0. Okay, those are your notes. If you have any questions, please bring them to class.